everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the go-to channel for anyone with insomnia that wants to overcome insomnia and get the sleep that you need. The good news is the sleep industry is changing and we are learning more and more about insomnia and how to overcome insomnia. And I'm here to give you hope and to help you get the sleep that you need. My clients have come to me feeling hopeless and out of options, and they are now sleeping well. And that's what I want for you too. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to cure insomnia, or can it be cured? And why do we have insomnia? How does it happen? And my tips for you if you want to get more sleep. If you too feel hopeless and out of options, then this video is for you. So let's get started. So let's start off by talking about whether insomnia can be cured at all. Now, when I do research for these videos, I like to research what are the most searched phrases and questions that people ask about insomnia so that I can make videos about them. And one of them was, can insomnia be cured? It was something like that. And so that's why I'm making a video about how to cure insomnia. Now, it's totally understandable why people would be searching for this, because I'm sure I searched that term as well when I had insomnia. Because we get stuck with this chronic insomnia that seems to last forever. It seems endless. We talk to doctors, maybe we've done CBTI, we've done melatonin and sleep medication, we've done all these different things, and nothing seems to be working, and nobody seems to be able to help you or help us or anyone who's had chronic insomnia. And that's where the problem lies. It makes it feel like we are broken and like maybe there isn't a cure. Maybe we're going to be stuck with it forever. So we search how to cure insomnia. Like, what is going on? Like, nobody seems to understand how to fix insomnia. And that is what I'm here to clear up for you, because if I can overcome it after 30 years, so can you. So I basically just gave it away. The quick answer is yes, you can cure insomnia. But let's talk about this word cure. Keep doing the quotes. So to cure something implies that you have some kind of disease, or there's something broken, or there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. And I know it seems like there's something wrong, like there's something broken, obviously. If it's lasting forever, if it's lasting for years, then there's something wrong, obviously, right? Technically, no. And I'm going to talk about that today so that you can understand insomnia so much more than the majority of people out there that have insomnia, so that you understand how to get more sleep and what is keeping you stuck. So we'll start off with why you have insomnia. That is a really big question that nobody seems to be able to answer, and it can be very confusing. There's a lot of misinformation and confusion around the topic, and I want to clear that up for you. So ultimately, it all comes down to your brain is activating the fight or flight system at bedtime. So you could be fine all day, everything's good, maybe you're sleepy during the day, but then you go to bed and then you're wide awake and you can't sleep. That's the fight or flight system that's being activated, and it's preventing you from sleeping. Now, the reason this happens is anytime we fear something. Now, I know this is very repetitive in all my videos and posts. I'm always talking about this because it all comes down to this. Anytime we fear something and we're trying to escape it, your brain thinks there is danger. So it activates the fight or flight system to keep you safe so that you fight or flee or freeze or whatever the right response is supposed to be in that situation. But your brain is activating the fight or flight system to keep you safe. So when you can't sleep at night, your brain is trying to keep you safe. And I know it doesn't feel like that, but when it comes to sleeplessness and insomnia, we're fearing being awake. Like, you know that, like, oh God, what if I'm awake tonight? What if I can't sleep? How am I going to get through tomorrow? How am I going to do this? It's going to last forever. You have this really strong, intense fear, which makes sense because it sucks to be awake at night. I know. And then we're trying to escape sleeplessness by, I'm going to take this pill, I'm going to do this meditation, I'm going to do this hypnosis, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to try to make sleep happen, and trying to escape it, but it's not working. And then we become more fearful because it's not working, and we get stuck on this endless cycle. Now, obviously, there's not an actual physical threat out there. There's not a bear running at you. There isn't a mountain lion running after you. There's not, I don't know, something scary, a spider running at you. There's nothing there. So why is your brain doing this? Doesn't your brain know that there's isn't it smart enough to see that there's not a physical threat? Unfortunately, there isn't. It's not. And no matter what we fear, whether it's a physical or perceived threat, your brain is going to notice the fear and the attempts to escape sleeplessness. And then you add those together and your brain is like, danger, danger. So it's going to activate that fight or flight system. No matter how tired you are, your brain wants you to stay awake so that you can stay safe. Which brings me to the next point, is that your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. There's nothing broken in your brain. There's nothing broken with your hormones or something that needs to be fixed. Your brain is just doing what it knows to do best to keep you safe. This goes back all the way to the days when tribes would be sleeping on the ground and there'd be enemy tribes nearby or wild animals that could kill them or maul them in the middle of the night. So the brain would sense danger and it would keep them in a lighter sleep. The more fearful or the more danger there is out there, it would keep them awake or keep them in a very light sleep so that they could get up or wake up and react as fastly as possible if they needed to. That's exactly what your brain is doing too. It knows you're fearing something and it knows that you want to escape it, or at least start with a fear. Your fight or flight system is going to be keeping you more awake. If you do sleep, it's going to keep you in a lighter sleep so that if the danger does attack, you can wake up and react as quickly as possible. Your brain is trying to help you out and it's trying to keep you safe. So as much as it sucks to be awake, thank your brain. Thank your brain. So I remember talking to one of my past clients, Brittany, who I remember talking to her about this topic that the brain is just trying to keep you safe and there's nothing broken, because she was convinced there was something wrong with her brain. Something just wasn't working because nobody's been able to help her. She saw doctors, she did CBTI. I think she saw a naturopath. A lot of my clients have seen naturopaths. She probably has, I don't remember. Don't quote me on that one, I could be wrong. But anyway, that's besides the point. She did not want to believe that there was nothing broken or anything wrong or anything to fix. But now she is sleeping great, and I happened to catch up with her recently, which is what made me think of it. She can't believe it. All along, her brain was not broken. There was nothing wrong. So I just want to give you hope and let you know that there isn't something wrong with you and that it is possible to get more sleep. So now that you understand why you have insomnia and why nothing is broken, let's talk about how to cure insomnia, which there's nothing to cure. So how to overcome insomnia. And I have two main tips for you, which of course is going to be the fear and escaping sleeplessness. We're going to talk about those two areas because those two things, I don't know what to do with my fingers, those two things, they're what's triggering the fear and what's keeping you awake at night. So let's talk about them. But before we move on, if you're someone that wants to go even deeper and learn even more about how to overcome insomnia, click the link in my description box for my free Insomnia Crash Course, where you're going to go even deeper and learn even more about how to overcome insomnia. It's free and I absolutely recommend it. It's a great place to start on your recovery journey. So let's talk about the fear. We're going to talk about this fear and the attempts to escape sleeplessness, starting with the fear. That is triggering your brain to think there's danger out there. You're fearing something, so it wants to keep you safe. So if you look at the real reason you're scared to be awake, it comes down to multiple things. You're scared about how you're going to get through the day. You're scared about how you're going to do your job. You're scared of getting fired. You're scared of not being able to be as productive as you like, or reaching your goals, or exercising, or being a good parent or spouse. Health risks. A lot of people fear the health risks that supposedly comes with lack of sleep. We will talk more about that, but you don't need to worry about that one. Trust me. We'll talk about it. So in the last video that I did, was it 1 or 2 videos ago, we actually broke down some of these fears. It's a little repetitive from the last video, or 2 videos ago, I can't remember. So let's look at ways that you can reduce these fears. Obviously, we're always going to have some level of fear around these, but the more we can reduce it, the more we can bring down that fear, the closer you're going to get to teaching your brain that you are safe. Once your brain sees that you're not fearing this stuff so much anymore, it's going to start to deactivate that fight or flight system. And it's not easy to get to this point. You can't just be instantly not fearful, like, psh, I'm not scared of being awake every single day for the rest of my life. It's not going to be the rest of your life, but I'm just making an exaggerated point that it's really hard to go from here to there. But we can start to go down the list of all these different things that you fear and start to really examine them and look for ways that we can reduce the fear. So I'm going to give some examples of how I would reduce the fear in myself, and then that might work for you, or you can find some other ways to reduce it yourself. So let's start off with a big one is, how am I going to get through the day? Because how many times have you been wide awake at night and thinking, oh my God, if I don't get any sleep, or I'm not going to get a couple hours sleep, how am I going to make it through the day? Like, that's not enough sleep. And all of us ask ourselves that at some point when we have insomnia. But if you look at the past, every single day that you've had to go on little to no sleep, you have made it through 100% of the days, right? You have done it. You've been able to do it. Yes, there probably, I'm sure there were days that you didn't feel great. You felt exhausted maybe. You're really tired. You're a little sluggish, a little slower than normal, but you got through, right? Well, the same thing is for tomorrow. If you can get through those days, you can get through tomorrow. You will be okay. You will make it. If you need to, you can practice some self-care. You can, let me take a sip. Sorry, tickle my throat. If you need to, you can take some extra rest, practice more self-care, take some walks outside in the fresh air and get some sunlight. Rest more, take breaks when needed. You can do whatever you need to take care of yourself the next day if you don't sleep. But you will get through, and you can make it a little bit better by practicing all this self-care to make sure you have a better day than you would have. So now let's look at your job. That's another common fear. A fear of being fired, of not being productive enough, not being able to do your job properly because you aren't getting the sleep that you need. And I was a nurse, so I know that fear. I remember not sleeping for multiple days in a row, and then there was only one day where I had to be there at 4 something in the morning and multiple days of no sleep. I've done 20 something hour shifts. It was, I don't want to say the H word. It was horrible. It was not a good experience. So I totally understand the fear of not being able to do well at your job and losing your job and your income. Now, I have never had a client that has lost a job. I'd just like to point that out. Hopefully that gives you hope or something. But if you look at the past, at every single day that you've worked, this is the same thing as looking at the day. You have not been fired. You have made it through every single day in the past. Am I right? You have probably gotten everything that you've needed to do, probably got it done. Maybe you've even here and there had some compliments from your boss or something like that, but you've done it and you can get through it again. Again, practicing self-care. Maybe you need to take more breaks, have more rest, or take a walk. If you're starting to feel a little sluggish and slow, taking a walk outside, just a gentle walk in the sunlight and the fresh air helps a lot. That's what I did when I was working. I would take a walk when I could. I couldn't when I was a nurse. There was hardly time to go to the bathroom. But just practicing that self-care. Try to help your day feel a little bit better. Now, just a side note. As you start to release that fear and you're not trying to force sleep to happen, you're not resisting it and getting frustrated and stressed, that emotional fatigue will come down because all that stress and trying to force sleep and getting frustrated, it burns a lot of energy that makes you feel even worse the next day. So you do have that to look forward to, even if you're not sleeping better yet. As your fear and your worry and frustration and the stress comes down, you're going to feel better and better every day. So this video is getting a little longer than I expected, but I quickly want to touch on the health worry. People worry about the health risks and what can happen to them if they don't get enough sleep every day. Are they going to develop Alzheimer's or some kind of disease? And it's totally understandable because there's so many newspaper articles and headlines out there with scary titles that make you feel like you're just going to develop some kind of scary disease because you're not getting enough sleep. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to worry about that. All those titles are very exaggerated. They're kind of like clickbait to get you to read the article, and they're scary, and it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you sleep better. It's not going to help with anything except bring pressure and stress. So there's two quick things I want to say about the health risk, because you're probably thinking, well, yeah, but there's studies out there that show that you can get all these diseases and issues if you don't get enough sleep. So two things. One, there's not a single study that actually proves that lack of sleep causes sleep issues. And that is because these studies, they're all associations. So they have lack of sleep, and we'll use Alzheimer's because I know that's a big one that people worry about with lack of sleep. So you have lack of sleep and Alzheimer's. These studies are showing an association, but not causation. They're not showing this lack of sleep as causing the Alzheimer's, putting at risk at Alzheimer's, because it can also be the Alzheimer's causing lack of sleep. So a lot of these diseases and conditions that you could supposedly get from not getting enough sleep, if you look at the side effects of all these diseases and conditions, there's a side effect of disrupted sleep, lack of sleep, not getting enough sleep, sleep issues, insomnia. You have all these on the side effects of these diseases. It can just be as likely, if not more, that the health conditions are causing the lack of sleep. Those studies aren't saying the lack of sleep are causing the health conditions. It's an association. So I hope that helps reduce that fear around the health risks. I know there's a lot of scary headlines out there. I don't recommend reading them. They're only going to scare you, and they're not telling you the whole story. Okay, so we've talked about the fear. Remember, it's the fear and trying to escape sleeplessness that's activating that fight or flight system. Let's talk about the attempts to escape sleeplessness. So this one is just as important as this one, because every time we're trying to escape the danger, the sleeplessness, your brain is thinking, the danger is still there. She hasn't escaped it. Let's activate the fight or flight system more. And you keep trying to escape it, and it's still there. You're still fearful. You're still trying to escape something. Your brain's like, oh my gosh, let's strengthen the fight or flight system even more. And we get stuck in this cycle. The more we can just allow the sleeplessness. I know that sounds scary, and nobody wants to be awake at night, but the more you can allow it, the more your brain is going to realize that you're safe, start to deactivate that fight or flight system, and then you can sleep more and more. So don't feel like just allowing the sleeplessness is giving up, because it's not. You're teaching your brain that you are safe. So instead of resisting the sleeplessness and fighting it, there's nothing to fight. There's no enemy. You can't control sleep. You can't make it happen. You can't take all these pills and make sleep happen. And this is another topic for a full video. I can't explain it all here, but you can't actually make sleep happen. Even sleeping pills, when they feel like they're working, they're not actually making you sleep. So what I usually have my clients do is start to look at all the different ways they're trying to make sleep happen. The ways they're trying to control it, make sleep happen, try to make yourself fall asleep faster, trying to help you overcome insomnia, all those different things. Just write them all out. And with time, you can start let going of them. Stop trying to use them to force sleep happen. Let go. They aren't helping you sleep anyway. So the more you can let go of them, stop trying to use them, the better off you're going to be in the future. And I really want to put a disclaimer here. None of this is going to work in a single night. It's going to take several nights practicing this before your brain will start to realize that you are safe and that you are okay, so that you will get more sleep. And oftentimes, as we let go of these sleep efforts, stop taking the pills and stop trying to do all these things to make sleep happen, we'll be all worried that we're going to be awake more because we're not using them. And then that fear is going to keep you awake longer. And you're not used to not taking this stuff. So as it becomes more normal again, becomes normalized, you will sleep more. It does take time. You have to keep practicing it consistently every single night. If you have made it this far in the video, then you understand insomnia far more than most people with insomnia out there. Don't just understand it and learn it, but actually apply what I'm teaching here so that you can start to get more sleep. And if you want more in-depth training, then click the link in my description for my free Insomnia Crash Course, where you're going to learn even more about insomnia and even more about how to overcome insomnia and teach your brain that you are safe. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.